Hello folks, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Holly. I am an illustrator based in New Zealand, and today I'm doing a Christmas gift guide because it's that time of year again somehow. I'm going to split this up into 3 different sections, and it's going to be a little bit different to how I usually do a gift guide because I want to include certain things. The first one is sort of more sustainable green gifts, low carbon gifts if you like. I've got a few of those, and then gifts that you can buy from independent creators, which I'm a big advocate of, being one myself and knowing a lot of other indie creators. And the third one is books, which I'm sure you would expect from this channel. So without further ado, the first thing that I recommend buying, which is a low carbon thing, is, in fact, this is carbon negative. That's buying trees for people. Now, of course, you could go to a garden centre and buy a tree, or you could, I don't know, go and dig one up. But I wouldn't really recommend doing that so much, as obviously there are limitations in terms of garden space and things like that. Although you could just buy somebody a plant. That's a very millennial thing to do. But what I was going to suggest was buying a tree to be planted somewhere in some kind of plantation. So there's a company in New Zealand that does this, or an organisation or charity called Trees That Count, but there are different ones in different areas. Now obviously you guys seem to be all over the world. You're wonderfully diverse in your locations, so I can't recommend specific ones. I will try to link a few in the description, but if you just search for tree planting in your area, then you should be able to find something that is local to you. I bought some trees for my mum for her birthday, and they're all planted locally, and they actually tell you where they're going to be planted, which is super cool. All right, the second one is this. So this is a conditioner bar. And I'm showing you this one as opposed to the shampoo bar because I have the box of this. This is from a brand called Ethique, which is a New Zealand brand. Oh, it just smells so good. It smells amazing. This one is coconut, and it's just amazing. I use it all the time, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is by a company called Ethique, which is a New Zealand company, and I use them because they're local, but I would recommend looking for some kind of locally produced shampoo bar, cosmetics, zero waste cosmetics, because I mean everyone washes their hair, at least most people do, and this is a great way of doing it without using so many bottles. And they say for each one of these it could be up to 5 bottles saved, which is kind of insane sounding, but you would not believe how long this conditioner lasts. I've had one for over 6 months and it's still going strong. And it's really good for shaving as well, actually, because it's really just smooth and coconutty and moisturising and all of those things. Anyway, I don't usually talk about beauty things, so this is very outside of my comfort zone. I will get to the books, I promise. The third thing that is kind of a low carbon gift is a subscription to something like Skillshare. Now, I must be the last YouTuber on YouTube to not be sponsored by Skillshare, so this is not sponsored, but I have used Skillshare on and off over the years, and I think it's a great sort of general gift for somebody, even if you just got them a couple of months worth of subscriptions. It allows them to learn some new skills, which is, I mean, I just think the most wonderful gift really in many ways. And yeah, whether they're a writer or an illustrator or they're into social media marketing, there are so many things on Skillshare, so that's why I included that as opposed to something that's more specific, because it can include so many different kinds of people. Okay, let's get on to the independent creators, and I have a little list here, and the first one is Emma Carpenter, who is a friend of mine, so I'm a little bit biased, but I do love her stuff, and it's a little bit bookish as well. So for one thing, there is this Mermaid Pin. It's a mermaid reading a book, which I mean just appeals to me on so many levels. And yeah, it comes in many different colours and styles, and it's kind of shiny and lovely and bookish. And enamel pins are always such a lovely gift, I think, because they're quite cheap to buy usually, but they're something that's really beautiful, and it's small, it's not going to take up a lot of space and all of those things, so I'm a big fan of them. Speaking of enamel pins, we've all got another creator called Sammy Clark, also another one of my friends, so yes, I'm biased, but I absolutely love her stuff. She has a YouTube channel as well, so does Emma, and Sammy just does the most gorgeous little animal drawings and paintings, and I just love them, especially her sea otters. So the sea otter pin is the one that I'm particularly going to recommend, because oh my goodness, a sea otter in a little coat, how cute can you get? But yeah, she has lots of gorgeous stuff. I'm just going to take a sip of tea. Oh, that's good. Okay, so the final creator that I'm going to talk about is me. I'm sorry, I've got to include myself here, because I do have some new things from previous years. I've sort of restructured my shop a little bit, and I've now got these journals which are much larger than the notebooks that I had before. This is Ancient Magical Plants, and I've got 3 of these magical textbook ones, and I do plan to do more in the future. So maybe a potions one, maybe a divination one, I don't know. Or astronomy could be quite fun too. And then there's this one here, which is called Autumn Dreaming. Loving those colours. And for any of you classical music fans out there, I've got the magic flute one, and I actually did a time-lapse video of me drawing this. So if you're interested in that, I will link it down below. Aside from that, I've got some new t-shirt designs as well as some tote bags. So this is my Mermaid Tote Bag, which is an organic cotton tote, and it's got a mermaid on it, and the mermaid is spotting a plastic bag off in the distance. So it's a bag with a little bit of a message to it, and it's obviously not a single-use plastic bag, so that's got to be good. And the other one is this one here, which is just going up today when this video goes live. It says, I'm going on an adventure. This is also organic cotton, nice kind of sturdy bag, and you can show your love of reading. And this is also available on a t-shirt. So those are sort of the new products. The Inktober prints are now gone because I only had a short period of time to create those in, but as always, let me know if there's any kinds of products you'd like to see in my shop. I do plan to do some more pins next year. Right. Finally, we have the books, the bit you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. Now, I have not bought that many books this year, so this is going to be much shorter than last year's, because I only want to recommend books that I actually have and, you know, have perused and enjoyed. And I tend to buy books that are more kind of gifty and visual books anyway. I just haven't bought very many of them this year, which is quite restrained of me. I've been stopping myself going into a bookshop. Anyway, when I did go into a bookshop, this is what I bought. This is Spectrum, and this is a Thames and Hudson book in partnership with the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And this is a designer's dream. I mean, so if you know anyone who's an interior designer or a graphic designer or an illustrator, it basically has these patterns, and then it takes the swatches out of the patterns and shows you the colours broken up like that. And there are so many different styles and different eras. So yeah, it is arranged by era, and we've got a real variety in here. And this is exactly the kind of thing I was looking for in terms of you know, something to inspire colour palettes, basically, which is one of the things I struggle with the most in my work. And I know it can be a challenge, so that is very cool. But even if you're just kind of interested in graphics or textiles or anything like that, or you know somebody who is, then that would be such a lovely book. I mean, it's not a super cheap one, it's a £25 book, but you know, if you're looking for something a little more gifty. And then this one is called Women in Art, which I was very excited about because I had Rachel Ignatowski's other book, which is Women in Science, and she's also done a Women in Sport one. So I'm putting these all sort of under the same umbrella. But this one is Women in Art, and of course, being an artist, I love this so much. And there are lots of familiar names in here, but also some names that I wasn't aware of. So that was very exciting to be able to kind of look through and find out some more about artists. So this would be a lovely gift for a child who's into art, or an adult. I mean, it's pretty versatile. I think it's mostly designed for children. It was a children's non-fiction book, but either way, it's just lovely. Right, we have two more. There's this one here, which I was so excited about. I hadn't heard about this one. I didn't know it was coming out. And then when it did come out, I was just blown away by it. Partly because I'm quite fascinated by anatomy, and that's something that I want to learn more about to improve my drawing skills. But also this is part of the Welcome to the Museum collection. And there are, I think, maybe 5 or 6 of them now. I've got Botanicum and what's the other one? Animalium. Those are both illustrated by Katie Scott, and I love Katie Scott's work. This one is illustrated by a different Katie Weideman, and what I like about this is that her work is different from Katie Scott's, but it ties in quite nicely, so it feels more like it's part of a series. And yeah, I'll just show you a little bit of what's going on inside, because it's all about what's going on inside of the body. The end papers, for one thing, are fabulous, and then it takes you through different parts of, or different systems in the body. So, like the bones. Sorry, this is so big and unwieldy, but you have to bear with me. I might even insert some B-roll in there. I mean, it's a little bit, I suppose, gruesome if you're not into that kind of thing. But, you know, if you don't mind looking at the inside of people's bodies, this is quite fascinating, and I love the way it's kind of, it's presented. And, I mean, how do you make a liver look pretty? Yet somehow Katie manages it. It's quite amazing. Right, I have one more book, and this is a book that was given to me last Christmas, by Jen Campbell, whose channel you're probably familiar with. If not, I will link it below. And she bought me this book here, which is called Herbarium, and it is kind of a directory of different herbs and spices. Is it spices as well? Herbs. Hence the name. And they're all illustrated in this really graphic, bold way. It kind of reminds me of 1960s prints. So the artist has interpreted each herb in a really creative way. So they've turned it into something quite different, which is very exciting. And then it also tells you a bit about the history of the herb and how you can grow it, what it's used for, if it's poisonous, things like that. And I just think it's a really unique way of presenting you know, this information, because you could do it in quite a traditional way by just having, you know, a photo of a poppy or some poppies and then the information. But having it illustrated like this is just really novel, and I really like it. I'd love to see some of these designs on fabric, actually. It's like I say, it's got a very 1960s feel to it, and it's just very cool. I'm trying to, who was the artist on this? It's not on the cover. Kaz Hildebrand. So I will link all of these down below as per usual. And oh, just look at that. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. So that would be a great gift for a gardener, keen cook, or somebody who's into illustration or into kind of 1960s style patterns, things like that. I feel like that's a pretty versatile book actually, and even though that's not really my era of illustration, I'm not such a big fan of the kind of 1960s prints and things, I absolutely love this, and I think it's just such a creative way of presenting that information. Very, very cool. So, my friends, those are the things that I recommend for buying for Christmas for friends, family, or yourself. I mean, there's always that option. This is the trouble with gift guides. Often I will watch them, like I watched Emma's one, Emma Carpenter's one earlier today, and I just wanted to buy all the things for myself, so I needed to stop myself from doing that. But yeah, if you've got like-minded friends, then yeah, these sorts of things would be great to buy. So I'm not going to say Merry Christmas yet, because it just feels a little bit early, let's be honest. But I will wrap up this video here, and thank you very much for watching as per usual. I'm going to try and get back to a more kind of regular upload schedule. I have still been uploading on Mondays, but doing Inktober and doing a video every day was pretty full on. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I'll do that again. There's a reason that people don't do this really. And yeah, I think I might get back to doing some vlogs and things. So if you have any requests for the kinds of content you would like, I've got more in the colour series, the book design colour series coming up soon. And apart from that, I will love you and leave you, and see you next week. Bye.